This is a rant video about reinforced fucking Greaves. And reinforced shoes for that matter. You know that when the patch came out, I already said that we're gonna probably see a lot more of them, especially in support, but also in solo lane a bit. And then I said in the next video that we're most likely gonna see a lot more of them, the only downside being the goal loss. And what happened is, what I predicted was not even nearly as much as they're actually picked up. What you can see here is a game from Bipolar Method, formerly known as Paradigm. Then we have a game from Cringe Crew. Then we have a game from Obey. And then we have another game from Obey. And here we have just a game from Suntouch, a normal game. And here you have the damage numbers that he still did with that build because of Concise and all that stuff. So what the hell's going on? Reinforced Greaves, reinforced shoes are stupidly overpowered. They are stupidly overpowered to the point that a pro team will pick up 3 of those for their team on different characters just because they're that fucking good. It will be picked up on Guardians, it will be picked up on solo laners, it will be picked up on mid laners, it will be picked up on junglers, it will be picked up on ADCs even. I don't fucking know anymore. Everyone is picking up these stupid ass fucking shoes. I picked them up as a joke in the video in the background for Bakasura. And that worked shitty enough, but it still worked way fucking better than it should have, given that he needs the attack speed boots more than anything. This item pisses me the fuck off. And I'm gonna go into why. Because originally I was just looking at the item, did a rough estimation of the numbers, and I was like, alright, that sounds pretty freaking strong. I'm not sure why it needed that buff. It was picked up before, but whatever. Like, it was a little bit of a shitty version of Winged Blade, so maybe there was a reason why it needed a bit of a buff. Now, but the shit that has happened now, and the shit that this item is now, is just beyond anything that you were expecting. And we're gonna compare this item with all its values, with its effective health and all that shit, to other defensive items, so you can really understand what the fuck is wrong with this item. Right, so let's look at Reinforced Greaves or Shoes first. This item has 150 health, up to 25 physical protection that then lasts for 6 seconds and gets refreshed. And additionally, you get 15 physical power or 20 magical power, 30% crowd control reduction. Don't underestimate this stat. And 18% movement speed as any other boot. All of that you get for 1,400 gold. Sounds good? Yeah, it is. Now, the point with the protections here is that they obviously start kinda low. But then again, you have to consider that in a fight, you typically take many instances of different damage. So it's very, very likely that you're gonna have higher protections up most of the time, especially if you have more health or defense in your kit along with it. So, now let's look at some defense items that already exist in the game that basically fulfill a similar purpose and have a similar price. Let's first look at the tier 2 of Sovereignty and Mystical Mail and many others, which is Steel Mail. Steel Mail has 200 health. That is 50 more than Reinforced Greaves. So, in that regard, it's actually better. Let's look further. We got 20 physical protection. Alright, that's 5 physical protection less than what Reinforced Greaves or Shoes gets at the highest rank, or when it's fully stacked. Well, let's just say we're not always gonna consider full stack, so on average, Steel Mail maybe has a little bit more physical protection. A little bit. Because it has that initial protection, the initial protection is important as well. So, that's in the favor of Steel Mail ever so slightly. And then we have the price tag. 1,400 gold. Sounds familiar? Yeah, because it's a fucking price tag of Reinforced Greaves. Now, what does this item have that, or like, what does Reinforced Greaves have that this item doesn't have? It has the same fucking amount of magical protection on top of anything, just for free. You just get the same protection again, just the other kind of it, so you're good against everyone. Nice. It also has the extra power, either on physical or magical. You just get some extra damage, because why the fuck not get some extra damage on your boots? Then it had 30% crowd control reduction, so it completely makes Tyr broken, who's already got that in the first place, and it's just stupidly strong because early crowd control is not nearly worth half as much with this shit. And late game, it still has a massive impact. Like, you're nearly at cap with the boots alone. And you get 18% movement speed on top of that. So, what? Like the sheer amount of damage that you're gonna be able to avoid due to having additional movement speed, making it easier to juke, and additional crowd control reduction, making it easier for you to get out of CC and therefore dodge further damage coming towards you, will more than make up for the stats of this tier 2 item. And the additional power obviously is just on top of that for free, because why the hell not? Okay, that's one item. But there's another item. There's another tier 2 item that's around the same price range. Maybe it's just this particular one, you know. Because there's Cloak of Concentration. Cloak of Concentration has 30 protections of each. So in that regard, hey, that's better, right? You know, you've got 30 protections right off the bat, not stacking or anything. So, cool. Now, wait, there's a problem here. Cloak of Concentration doesn't have any fucking health. And if you have paid any attention to my previous videos about defense or protection or support builds, then you will know that effective health is combined health and protections. If you only have one, you're usually off way worse. Cloak of Concentration is a good item, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't have any fucking health. So it's always going to be second to something like Reinforced Greaves in terms of what it offers in initial defense, and especially in early stages of the game where you're going to build those. Okay, then Cloak of Concentration gets 7% cooldown reduction. 7% cooldown reduction, that's nice, right? Yeah, like 7%. It's not bad, right? You can use an ability, yeah, like 7% more often? Does that even make sense like that? Yeah, something like that. Oh, but did I fucking mention that the boots give you 30% CCR? Now, CCR is not worth as much as CDR, but it's still 30 fucking percent versus 7% on an item that is similarly expensive. But the point is that Cloak of Concentration is even more fucking expensive. Cloak of Concentration costs 1,515 gold. That is 115 gold more. It does not give movement speed. It does not give CCR. It does not give you extra power. And the overall health and defense of this item is worse. Like, what? These are fucking boots. This is not supposed to be a full tank item. And talk about full tank items. If you only looked at fucking tier 2 items now, that's probably the problem, right? We have to look at a tier 3, right? Yeah. My apologies. I made that wrong. I made a mistake here. We're looking at the tier 3 because we only compare tier 3s to tier 3s. So we're looking at Sovereignty. Sovereignty has 200 health. Wow, that's good. That's another 50 health more than Reinforced Greaves. Right, that's actually the same as Steel Mail. Huh. Well, it's 200 health. Nice. Sovereignty also has 60 physical protections if you count in the aura. Okay, so we have 60 physical protection versus up to 25 protections of each. Okay, that means the effective health of Reinforced Greaves overall is a little less. You know, it is better against magicals. You get a similar amount of defense overall. If it's fully stacked, but it obviously needs to stack first. So if you don't have that much health, then Sovereignty would be a lot more effective. Obviously, the characters that get Sovereignty are naturally tanky and will be able to take 5 hits either way, but whatever. Just assuming that we're not talking about full stacks here, that's in favor of Sovereignty. Sovereignty also gives 25 HP 5, which makes for a lot of effective health, so that is good. Now, Sovereignty costs 2,100 gold. That is a solid 700 more than Reinforced Greaves, which would allow you to build another tier 1 item in most scenarios. Fair enough. I mean, we could just add any random tier 1 item on there, and it would usually work out in favor of Sovereignty in terms of total defense, even if Cloak give you plus 10 on each. Slightly leaning towards Sov overall, I would say, depending on what you want, really. Only that with Reinforced Greaves, you can adjust much better to every source of damage because you have defense in both regards. You also have extra damage against targets. You also have a massive amount of mobility for rotations, which is especially crucial early on in the game. You can't just build into Sovereignty. There's a reason why people build boots before anything fucking else. And you also don't get that massive CCR that the item has. In return for some more sustain and some more defense against a particular target. But if you look at how often there are magical damage dealers in dual lane now, and there are physical supports in dual lane now, and there are mixed damage swords all over the field, Mixed defense is so much better than this singular defense, and that bit of HP 5 is not gonna make up for it. So, what the fuck? Just what the fuck is the idea behind putting this item in the game like that? I do not understand the logic. The item was fine before. It did not need buffs. You could have dropped, say, 5 to maybe 10 protections of each onto the item. No stacking, just the protections. And it would have been picked up more. It would have been very effective. It would have done its job better because it would have been more effective health in a combination of protections and health. It would have been a very solid support item or defense item for that matter. And it would have probably still been good for some solo laners in the first place. And now we have this broken piece of shit. And everyone is building it. And we're going into a fucking tank meta. And you know what? Void Shield was shit in the first place because Void Shield has already got too much defense, making early jungle lame as fuck because everyone's building Void Shield. Now we have tank boots on top of that. And that's fucking cancer. Please revert this buff. Maybe give it some more protections. Maybe give it something that makes it a little more worth, makes it a little more comparable to Travelers. And we're completely fine, but take this fucking stacks of it. Also, the animation of this thing is just ugly as fuck. Why is this like a stacked fucking, I don't know, bulwark of hope or something? It's disgusting. Rant over. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Duke out.